Hello again, Unky Tonks. Now, I saw a video by Paul Thorpe this morning, a bigger and better YouTuber than I, who's only come to my attention recently thanks to the baffling YouTube algorithm. I don't even think that the Google employees know how their own algorithm works. It makes about as much sense as Kamala Harris when she speaks, if you know what I'm talking about. Now, Paul Thorpe's video was about Nigel Farage's deafening silence regarding the Peter Lynch issue. Now, when I'm talking about Peter Lynch, I'm talking about our Peter Lynch, British Peter Lynch, not the, I think, American journalist, I may be wrong, whom the YouTube algorithm will put in the video description or just below the screen here, along with a link about unaliving prevention. I got to use the correct terms here because of the YouTube algorithm. You got to be careful. Anyway, of course, if you do feel that way, then please, by all means, reach out, help yourselves, for your own sakes, your friends and families. There is help out there. You're not alone. It's a horrible place to be. I've been there. I've had to claw myself out of that hole, and I remember looking down that hole, reminiscing, thinking, what the hell was I doing down there? And I'm glad I helped myself. I had the strength to do that. That's another video for another time. Back to Peter Lynch and Paul Thorpe. Yes, Paul Thorpe said a lot of things and you can't really disagree with the fella. I'm going to give you my take anyway. The reason being, the more of us who make these videos on these subjects, then the likelihood that people who you want to see them, like Nigel Farage, etc., it'll reach them and then probably they'll act accordingly. Now, as much as I am a fan of Nigel Farage and reform, and I want them to do well in Parliament, they are the only alternative now to the Conservatives. They're the party I want to be opposition. We need to break the dreadful, vicious cycle of Tories, Labour, Tories, Labour. They do the same thing. That's why the country's in a mess. Not just Labour doing what they do, but the Tories in action, or the Tories no longer being Tories. And we need to break that vicious circle. Anyway, as much as I am a reform voter and I like Nigel Farage, we can't be too tribalised. We can't see these people as if the sun shines out of their backsides. They're not perfect and we need to call them out. That's the beauty of it. We need to call these people out when they're not doing enough, or they're not doing the right thing, or we feel they're not representing us. And in the case of Peter Lynch, Nigel Farage has failed us. All right, Richard Tice said something. It was a tiny mention, and called him a fool, as did his partner Isabel Oakeshott. Called Peter Lynch a fool. He wasn't a fool, he was a hero. He stood there, he went to protest, at a protest which was hijacked by violent men who turned it into something which escalated out of control. Those men are rightly jailed and dealt with. Peter Lynch, not so much. He stood there, called the police names and had a placard with a list of names and organisations whom he thinks shouldn't be trusted, and that's it. He exercised his free speech, he put himself there, freedom of expression, and he was arrested and jailed for it. In the name of Keir Starmer's socialism, he was jailed for it to make an example of, so Keir Starmer can show his mates, look at the far right, I've jailed, look at them, they exist, look, there's the proof, far right, they're far right, as Leanne Wood would say, Plaid Cymru Plank. What's she up to these days? Anyone care? I don't. So yeah, the guy went there and spoke up for and stood up for people who couldn't be there and couldn't say anything. Fair play, he's not a fool, he's a hero. There, I've said it, Peter Lynch is a hero. He wasn't a violent man, had no previous, he had health issues, and still he did that. And still the judge didn't take that into consideration and locked him up with truly nasty, evil people where he shouldn't have been whatsoever. Shouldn't even had a slap on the wrist, as far as I'm concerned. And for Richard Tice and Isabel Oakeshott to call him a fool. I mean, you don't see Richard Tice at these events, do you? You don't see Isabel Oakeshott, Nigel Farage for that matter. You don't see them at these events. They keep well away. And that's another thing we need to call them out on. They need to attend these events. Nigel Farage is selling himself as a man of the people, then be with the people. Stand with the people whom you want to represent, Nigel. Just do it and watch your support rocket up, which will help you in the Parliament. You need it. If you're taking on Labour and the Tories, you're going to need all the votes you need, pal. Every single one. So work for them. They won't come to you for free. All right, he on his channel spoke about the police officer who is being hounded and villainised, and people are trying still to make an example of the guy for doing his job. He spoke up about that. Fine, yeah, good thing to talk about. But a guy was sent to prison and he died there for freedom of speech. Hell of a hill to die on. Peter Lynch died for free speech, but he shouldn't have. It shouldn't have been him. It really shouldn't. A granddad, 60-year-old granddad, and he was behind bars. He died incarcerated to please Keir Starmer and his metropolitan mates. That's a big issue as well. That's a huge issue, if you ask me, and it's disgusting. And Nigel needs to say something. Just flipping say something. Do something. You're an MP now. For heaven's sake, I mean, Britain 2024, an old man dies for expressing his opinion. Shouldn't be happening. Like Paul Thorpe said, yeah, it happens in North Korea. It happened in Soviet Russia. It's happening in Russia under Putin. Other places as well. Even Ukraine. Zelensky's had journalists locked up. True. And our MPs are quick to speak out about injustices in other countries, like Paul Thorpe correctly said. But when it happens here to one of us, not a sausage. Why? Why is that? My God, if I was an MP, I'd be shouting the house down. Why has this happened, Keir? Why have you assured this to happen on your watch, on your behest, Keir Starmer? Why has that happened? Or even worse, why has Nigel Farage said nothing? Why have the Tories said nothing? Tories said nothing at all. They're the opposition. What bigger deal is there in Britain than a pensioner getting jailed for free speech, expressing his opinion? I can't get over that. I really can't. I never thought it would happen. I never ever thought it would happen. I didn't think Labour would be as bad as this when they got voted in. I really didn't. And people didn't vote for them because they wanted them. They voted for them to punish the Tories. My goodness. Dear me. What a state of affairs, eh? A real state of affairs. But the British Peter Lynch, he was a hero. Thanks to Ben Habib for speaking up on his behalf. Richard Tice, retract calling him a fool. Isabella Oakeshott, do what you will. Nobody cares about you. You're just famous because you're with him. And Nigel Farage, fucking well say something. Do your job. Represent us. Speak up for this man who died for freedom of speech. You go on about it long enough, often enough. Well, here we go. A man has died for it. And you're saying nothing. Don't let people cast doubts on you on reform. Because then it won't work, will it? It really won't work. Do better, Nigel. That's what I think. And there we go. Whew. You know, there are people getting jailed, losing their jobs, getting hounded, villainised, demonised for opinions. You're free to do that. Article 10 ECHR, dare I say it, while we're still there, it guarantees it. You are guaranteed a freedom of opinion. You are not allowed to be persecuted or prosecuted for it, as long as you don't incite murder and violence. Oh, it's crazy. It really is crazy. Anyway, Peter Lynch, rest in peace. Thank you for speaking up on behalf of me and others. You won't be forgotten. But my God, you know, Nigel Farage, come on, dude. Where are you? Anyway, 49. Thanks for watching and listening. And until the next time, Roger Trout. You know, I should just salute properly, shouldn't I? It's not long way up, short way down. There we go. Done it. Hi, I'm Paz49 off that video you just watched, and I want to thank you all for all the likes, comments and shares, but now it's time to hit that subscribe button.